30 million years ago, the mammals ruled, and most magnificent among them, the flesh-eaters. Two dynasties of killers had evolved along radically different lines. One of these was to give rise to a family of opportunists, the dogs. From the other line came the cats, specialists in the technology of death, with their dagger teeth and grappling muscles. But some carnivores tried a completely different tactic. Rather than chasing after prey, they won their flesh from scraps other animals left behind. They became the scavengers. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but almost all carnivores are happy to profit from leftovers when the opportunity arises. These banded mongooses are designed to eat insects, but that doesn't stop them from taking advantage of a buffalo carcass. This wolverine, a member of the weasel family, can even make a living from scavenging. Weighing up to 30 kilos, it's the giant of its kind. Black bears will eat almost anything, as will raccoons. Broad tastes which allow them to make the most of our own leftovers. But while these animals are mostly part-time scavengers, for one group it's a profession. These spotted hyenas are one of only 4 species remaining in the hyena family. 3 of them are superbly engineered to tear hide and smash bone. While the 4th, the aardwolf, has somewhat more delicate tastes. But from the many and varied hyenas which evolved over the ages, how did just these 4 survive to the modern day? It's a story which began 20 million years ago in the jungles of what is now Africa. A time when forests covered the globe, and the earliest representatives of the cats still lived in the trees. From their fossils, we know the earliest ancestral hyenas were a lot like this banded civet. They probably defended territories and hunted alone by night, raiding birds' nests, occasionally taking fruit and gleaning insects. This genet provides a glimpse of how these early tree dwellers first came down to the ground, where all sorts of rotten scraps were on offer. But there was an important step to take before early hyenas could take advantage of these: the development of a cast iron gut. Once on the ground, some of the early hyenas moved out into the open, where, like this African civet, they could top up their diet with the odd free meal. Scavenging was probably important, as it is now to many carnivores. Yet these early hyenas would have gnawed in frustration at bones that modern hyenas splinter with ease. But the first turning on the evolutionary road for hyenas was not to bone crushing, it was towards versatility and opportunism. One of the first hyenas was a relatively unspecialized creature, Ichthyotherium. But soon, hyenas evolved with pointed jowls and racy legs. In effect, they have begun to look like dogs. Where today there are black-backed and golden jackals, 10 million years ago, there would have been dog-like hyenas. This was the heyday of the hyena. As many as 30 species of nimble, dog-like creatures evolved. Those early hyenas weren't bone crushers, but jacks of all trades. They hunted, and they scavenged. They were agile enough to nip in where others feared to tread, right under the big cat's nose. As dogs, hyenas were a great success. Today, both black-backed and golden jackals live in family groups, but they'll travel a long way to find a feast like this. Perhaps the dog-like hyenas did just the same thing, dodging and diving under the feet of the heavyweight carnivores of their day. In North America, the ancestors of this coyote had much the same lifestyle. And it was in this part of the world that one of the most spectacular hyenas evolved, Chasma porthetes. Taking the nimble, fast-running design to its limit, it had become a racy, cheetah-like hunter. They flourished until true cheetahs evolved and put them out of business. Meanwhile, back in Africa, a mysterious group, the Percrocutoids, were monopolizing the bone-crushing trade. It meant that there were still no openings for hyenas. But then, 10 million years ago, the world's climate changed. The Percrocutoids tumbled to extinction. And finally, some of the hyenas succeeded in stepping into their shoes. But for the majority of dog-like hyenas, the change spelled disaster. As fate would have it, this was also the moment when the true dogs spread westwards, out of North America, across the Bering Land Bridge, and into Asia. For the old guard of hyenas who were on to a losing streak, the dogs were the last straw. Once the climate had stabilized, the dog-like hyenas might have bounced back, but now it was too late. The true dogs had taken their place. These simian jackals are one of 22 species of true dog, which have simply swallowed up the dog-like hyenas' niches. Only one of the original dog-like hyenas has persisted in its old trade, the aardwolf. It survived because 15 million years ago, it became a specialist. It started to eat termites. The ancestral aardwolf unwittingly picked a lucky ticket which ensured its survival. With cast iron stomachs resistant to the termites' chemical defenses, a long tongue, and copious saliva, in one night each aardwolf can lick up 300,000 prey. But to support a family, an aardwolf's territory must contain about 300 termite mounds.